There's a quote from the Scottish mystic Sid Banks, and he said, if you're feeling anxious, you're feeling unwell, but you don't project it onto anything outside of you, you're actually mentally healthy. But even if you're feeling wonderful, if you project that feeling of wonder onto outside things, you're going to find yourself mentally unbalanced. And what he was pointing to was that we live in a feeling of thought, not a feeling of circumstances. So when we project our feeling onto our circumstances, whatever circumstances, whether it's God and the devil or the outside world or these particular people and this particular amount of money, whatever we do to try to fix it is going to fail because we're starting from a fundamentally faulty premise. And one of the more interesting stories about this, one of my colleagues, Dr. Ken Manning, was talking about how he first came to understand this. And he'd been on a session teaching the inside-out understanding and the principles as a therapeutic methodology. And he came from a conventional therapeutic background. And he said, I found the people very nice, but what they were saying was way too simple. They kept sort of suggesting that people were basically well. They were basically healthy. They were basically okay. But they just, got caught up in their thinking from time to time. And I thought, well, that's a very sweet model, but it's utter nonsense. And he could quote Freud and Jung and Adler, and I don't know who he could quote, but he could quote all the sources to prove that, yeah, it'd be nice if it was that simple. And he said he left at the end of the 4 days that he was there, having enjoyed himself, surprisingly. Again, thinking very nice people, but they just didn't understand how complicated human beings are. And he said at mile marker 93, he had an insight. And he just got that actually he was wrong and they had been pointing to the truth. And the way he said it to me is he said, what I saw was everybody is okay. We're all okay. We're just overthinking things. And that points to the true cause of anxiety. Whether you're feeling anxious, whether you're with somebody who feels anxious, the cause of that anxiety is not anything to do with the world, and it's not even to do with the content of their thinking. It's to do with the volume of thinking, how much thinking is going on in any given moment. And one of the analogies I love for this came from another of my mentors, Dr. George Pransky, and he talked about that imagine that your mind has a tachometer, but instead of measuring engine speed in terms of RPM, revolutions per minute, it measures in terms of TPM, thoughts per minute. And so your car is designed, your mental car, your mind, is designed to run, if there are 0 to 50 thoughts per minute, and these numbers aren't real, right? Because I have no idea how you'd even measure them, but just metaphorically, 0 to 50 thoughts per minute, you're going to experience a lot of peace, a lot of quiet, a lot of rest. Now, your mind gets going a bit, 50 to 150 thoughts per minute, you're going to start experiencing flow, like real time, just enough thinking to help you handle whatever it is that you're handling. It'll be just the right thinking for whatever is actually on your plate. You've slowed down to the speed of life, which allows you to handle life very well, and you'll have nicer feelings. You'll have what they call healthy functioning. Well, what about when you start to rev up? So you've now got like 150 to 250 thoughts per minute. Now you're beginning to feel anxious. Now you're beginning to feel overload. And it's still a mild anxiety, and you're probably still pretty functional. And in fact, you may even think this is your normal. That kind of mild anxiety you can get used to and just think, well, that's just me. I have a high idle. This is just me at rest. I'm still a little anxious, but I'm okay. But then your thinking revs up from 250 to 350 thoughts per minute. And now you're spinning out of control and you're persistently anxious. And because of that tendency to project our feeling onto an object, so we can go, what's causing this? What's causing this? What's causing this? We will start to pin it on things. Oh my God, it's because of what's going on with my health. Oh my God, it's because of what's going on with the economy. Oh my God, it's because of what's going on with my kids or my partner or my parents. Oh my God, it's because of what's going on in... And we can pin it on anything that's plausible. But what's really happening is our mind is just spinning out of control. And then it can go on from there. We can get to this place where it's like 350 more thoughts per minute, and we're spinning and we're beginning to think about our thinking and worry about our thinking, and that's when we have panic attacks. And that's when we burn out. And that's when we shut down. And that's when we start to experience depression or numbness. And at any point in that cycle, we may have medicated in an attempt to slow things down. And we may have medicated with official medication, or we may have self-medicated, which is how a lot of people get through life. And in a way, it's not a terrible idea because you're slowing down the thoughts per minute. It's just when you do it that way, there are usually side effects. And if you do it that way, but you think the cause of your anxiety is something outside you or the content of your thinking, well, then you're going to need to continually medicate. But here's the thing. If you catch wise to the fact that those feelings of anxiety are just telling you about how fast your thought is going, in the same way as the feelings of peace and well-being are telling you about how quiet your mind is, then you've got a built-in feedback mechanism that you can begin to use to settle yourself down. When you start to feel anxious, instead of looking around you for the cause, you start to go, oh, God, I'm revving up. And if it doesn't look like a good idea to you to rev up, you're just less likely to rev up as much.